The Kansas City Chiefs are going on a run that absolutely nobody expected just a few seasons ago. The Chiefs enter 2024 coming off yet another dominant season after winning back-to-back Super Bowls. With Mahomes and the offense looking nearly unstoppable in years prior, and their defense seemed to take a huge step forward in 2023, the expectations were high as always. But with a few key changes, could they continue their dominance? The Kansas City Chiefs are currently sitting at an astounding 11-1 record, simultaneously sitting atop the AFC playoff picture, but if you just simply looked at this team's stats so far this season, you might think to yourself, how is this team not losing games? Some key players for this Chiefs team have been playing, for a lack of a better term, horrible. Patrick Mahomes is having his worst season to date, throwing for 20 touchdowns and a whopping 11 interceptions through only 12 games. And with the first ballot Hall of Famer playing bad, it's taking a toll on the rest of this Chiefs offense. Their production is down all year, and it just looks like they don't have any groove to them whatsoever. But if you simply just looked at this team's record, you would have absolutely no idea that any of this was happening. Now let's take a look at this Chiefs team schedule to see if we can figure out how this subpar football team is actually winning so many games. Starting off in the preseason, things looked very shaky. After losing all three of their preseason games, a lot of people, including myself, were wondering, maybe the dynasty in Kansas City was finally over. But moving on to the regular season, the Chiefs started off their schedule hot by playing one of the best teams in the entire league, the Baltimore Ravens. With the Chiefs looking so bad in weeks prior, the Ravens were a heavy favorite to win this game. But in true Chiefs form, they were able to come out victorious, Patrick Mahomes having one of his best games all year. But we'd also get our first look into something that would become a lot more common in the next few games. If we fast forward a couple weeks, we really get to see how lucky this Chiefs team has gotten all season long. And with the first 5 weeks of the season going to plan, other than their close win against the Bengals, no one really batted an eye. Because after all, this was the defending Super Bowl champs. They're supposed to go undefeated, right? Or maybe not. The next 5 weeks are a little bit tougher, as they barely win the Super Bowl rematch against a battered and bruised 49ers team that really isn't that good. Also, barely beating one of the worst teams in the entire NFL in the Raiders, and winning an overtime miracle against the Buccaneers. And for the love of God, let's not forget about this block kick against the Broncos in Week 10. Every single one of those games I just mentioned could have and should have gone the other way. But in Week 11, the Chiefs finally met their demise. Going into Buffalo, Josh Allen led this Bills team to a shocking victory against the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs. This was coming sooner than later, but this loss might have sparked the downfall of this Chiefs organization. Because their last 3 games that they've played have been very, very interesting. A last-second field goal against the Carolina Panthers, a botched snap against the Raiders, and yet another last-second field goal to beat the Chargers. Once again, all 3 of these games could have and should have gone the other way. But there really is an overlaying theme to all of these games that they are somehow winning. They're not doing it without some help. Honestly, it was a joke at first, but for some reason, NFL fans, including myself, actually believe that the refs are doing everything in their power to help the Chiefs win these games. Let's take a trip all the way back to the first game of the regular season where the Chiefs played the Ravens. Now, Isaiah Likely's touchdown pass was reversed. It's obvious that he was out of bounds, but this was the start of something a lot bigger with the Chiefs and the refs. Going back to their overtime win against the Buccaneers, this play was called a face mask. He is obviously not grabbing his face mask. This would allow the Chiefs to get better field position in what would eventually lead to their team scoring the game-winning points. And most recently against the Raiders, whatever the hell this was caused the Raiders to lose on the very last second.
Stop it.
Illegal shift on the offense. That penalties decline. The Chiefs did recover the backwards pass and take over first down.
Oh, on top of it. Wow.
Now let's pause for a second. I'm not saying that the NFL is rigged, but what I am saying is that the Chiefs might actually be the worst 11-win team that I have ever seen, and that Andy Reid needs to go buy a lottery ticket. And with 4 games left on their schedule, 3 of them being against playoff caliber teams, we're finally going to get to see if the Chiefs team is really as good as their record says they are. Comment down below if you think the Chiefs are going to make it back to the Super Bowl. God, I hope not. And subscribe for more NFL stories.